Here with West Virginia Black Bears manager David Carpenter. So, David, talk about tonight's win and so far with your team in the second half of the MLB Draft League, and you guys are off to a hot start. So, talk about tonight's win and yesterday's win.
Guys are swinging the bat really well. Still trying to learn everybody's names right now, but really excited for the guys that we have coming in. I'm fortunate enough to have a couple arms that I'm familiar with from the first half, so that's also helpful. But just kind of getting to know everybody's swings, what their strengths are, weaknesses, spots in the lineup they can work with, obviously some positions throughout the infield and the outfield that they can play. Just trying to find opportunities for them to go out there and be successful.
Speaking of pitching, since you're a pitcher also throughout your career, talk about your pitching staff. Yesterday's game you gave up no runs, but today only 5. But talk about the chemistry so far with the pitching staff.
The guys have looked really good. Starters came in. Will Sandy looked really, really good. Obviously, from a pitching school like UNC, you expect to have a guy that can go out there and shove a little bit. But then we had Nate went out there today, did a really, really nice job. The bullpen's done their job. Come in, pound the zone, get weak contact. And, that was just kind of one of the things you're looking for, especially in a game like this. We're able to put up a good number of runs. Just have the guys go out there and compete in the zone.
So tonight's game, obviously you put up 14 runs and 23 in 2 games, and just talk about the offensive firepower you guys have, and obviously a brand new roster from the first half. But talk about already like putting up runs with the brand new roster and still learning names, like you said before.
Honestly, just guys going up and having really, really good at bats. Just the fact of being able to understand what their strengths are, what they're able to do, looking for the pitch that they can handle. If they're not getting it, they're willing to take walks. They're able to get on base, create some chaos on the base paths, and just be able to create opportunities to try and score runs. So the guys have done a really good job of that. And just, again, trying to learn where guys fit best in the lineup. So we're still working on that, but it was really nice to see, the offensive output the past 2 nights.
Yeah, so speaking of, for you being a manager, what's it like? Actually, I had the opportunity to talk to Dimitri Young at the prospect game here to talk about what's it like seeing former Major League players being managers here in the MLB Draft League, including you, Dimitri Young, and Jeff Mantle, other managers. What's it like seeing that?
I mean, it's really, really good for these guys. Getting an opportunity to be with guys that have been at the highest level of baseball is really, really important. That's how they learn. Obviously, they've gone through the college ranks, gotten to work with some fairly good college programs. Some of them maybe not so much, but now they get to be around some guys that have played at the highest level and get to understand the ins and outs of the game. Certain things like tonight, we had an opportunity to really teach the guys. When we were up, a number of runs, why certain things happen, the way we're supposed to respect the game, respect the opponents. And something we had to learn from tonight, and hopefully that these guys carried on throughout their career. But it's really important seeing guys across the field, like Jeff, like Dimitri, like Dave Tremblay, Jesse Litch, Rene Rivera, guys that had successful big league careers, as players and now as coaches. Obviously, it's really cool to get to have that opportunity to learn from them. For myself as well.
And how hard is it for a manager when you have to change the roster from the first half to the second half? And how hard is that sometimes for you?
It's honestly, it's really, really difficult. You're going from a group that you had in the first half for roughly 30 games. Guys that are true potential draft picks. I got the opportunity to manage Devin Saltabon, a number of different guys that are really going to make a splash once the draft happens here in a day or so. So being able to kind of change gears because you get a new set of guys in that are looking to have that same opportunity, whether it be through the draft or undrafted free agent or something of that nature, to continue their career. It's really, really cool for me to try to have that type of impact on these guys and hopefully further their career.
One final thing for you. Tomorrow's a draft, and what advice would you give to these players who are heading into the draft? And we could potentially see some players from the draft league getting drafted in this year's draft. So, what can you share with them, and what advice would you give them and relate to your career when you got into the major leagues?
Honestly, it's really tough to sit there and be calm about the whole situation. You're excited about it. You want to see where you end up. You want to see what organization you're going to be with. But the biggest thing these guys need to realize is knowing their value, knowing what they're able to do, and go out there just on a consistent basis. Once somebody gives you that opportunity, you just go in, head first.
Right.
You give everything you've got. You bust your butt, but you also understand what your strength is. You don't vacate what your strength was, whether it was for hitting for power or if you're a pitcher, if you have a really good fastball, you don't vacate from that. Use what has gotten you there, use what has allowed you to be successful to this point, That's why the team wanted to pick you. They wanted you to work on your strength, while continue to work on your weaknesses as well. But don't forget what your strength is, and that's going to help you, ride this up and down roller coaster that can potentially lead to the big leagues.
Actually, real quick, your best moment as a pitcher in your career, best moment.
Oh shoot. Honestly, it wasn't even a field thing. It was getting to call my dad when I found out that I was going to make my debut with the Astros. So getting to share that with my family, people that have been, had my back since I was 7 years old when I started playing this game. That was probably my coolest moment as a major leaguer.
Wow, thank you.